Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, and today's video is a very exciting one. If you would have asked me like 6 months ago that am I going to do a video like this, I would have probably said no, because in the beginning of the year I told you that I will not be using or like buying any new sunscreens or like trying and testing out any new sunscreens. But turns out that I think like after the mid-year point, I realized that, you know what, I've been seeing some particular sunscreens that have been talked about a lot, and people who have like my skin type and my skin concerns actually really like these sunscreens. So I was like, maybe I should get like one or two. And then I asked you guys on Instagram which ones you would like to see me like try out and review and stuff. So one of them, a lot of you requested that I try out as well. Some of you have used this as well and have recommended it to me, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And then there's another one which a friend of mine actually recommended to me, and I was like, okay, let me try this out since you're saying that I'll probably like it. I might. And then there's another like Dermac favorite sunscreen that I'm also going to talk about in this video, which is kind of similar to like another product, and we'll talk about that as well. So yeah, I ended up trying out these like 2 or 3 different sunscreens that I'm going to talk about today, and then we have one honorable mention as well, which I'll just quickly brief you about because I have mentioned this in past videos as well. But the Dermaco 1% hyaluronic like gel hyaluronic acid gel sunscreen that comes in like this really nice white and orange packaging. I love the packaging, I love the dispenser, I love the formulation in itself as well, like the texture, the ingredients, the fact that it's fragrance free, the way it applies on the skin, everything, like the whole thing I love. And I used it up completely, which is why I don't have it to show it to you. But I've also heard recently that the formulation has changed. They've reformulated it or something like that, which I don't know. Like, I can't vouch for that because I haven't tried it out recently. This was one of the first ones that I tried out of the bunch, and like I used it up as well. It doesn't come with a lot of product if you're applying the right amount, so you will probably go through that a little bit quickly, but I still don't mind it because I think it's a beautiful product that I do plan on trying and testing out again. I'll maybe repurchase that after I use some of the sunscreens that I have in my collection at the moment, and then I will share my thoughts if I do think it's been reformulated or not. And that is that. I just wanted to quickly mention that right in the beginning of this video. And now I'm going to talk about the other 3 sunscreens that I've also been trying and testing out. So the first one that I was trying and testing out was the DOUX sunscreen. It's called their matte silicone gel or something like that. I don't know what the exact name is, but I will pop a photo right here on the screen. The reason why I don't actually have to show it to you is because it's in my empties bin. After I used up the Dermaco sunscreen, I was kind of debating which one I want to use next, and when I asked you guys on Instagram, a lot of you said we want you to try out the DOUX one. So I was like, okay, I'll try the DOUX one, and this is the Dermat favorite. I feel like I've seen so many different dermats recommend the sunscreen. It's more of that pharmacy kind of brand, even though you will see it sold on like Nykaa and stuff, even Amazon for that matter. I believe I got this from Nykaa, I want to say. I don't exactly remember, but yeah. I also do like the fact that this comes in 2 sizes actually, so you can buy the 50 grams one first, try it out, and then if it becomes your favorite or it's your holy grail, you can definitely get the 100-gram size. There's not much of a price difference, but I think it's just better because like you're creating less waste, you won't go through it as quickly and stuff like that. But yeah, moving on to the texture and the formulation and why I like / don't like it. It's got this like silicone texture, so basically it looks like a cream. Okay, it's not that transparent or like translucent gel kind of texture. It's very much a cream, but it's a cream that has a lot of silicones, and when you apply it on your hand or on your face, obviously like I take it on my hand and then I apply it on my face. So that's why I said like you take it on your hand and you start like massaging it and then you apply it on your face. It's got that dry soft touch matte feel, which I feel like people who have more normal oily skin will actually like, and especially when you have like skincare underneath, I feel like this goes on very nice and smooth on top. If you are someone who has a very like minimalist routine, I don't know how this would pair with like the rest of the products. Or if you're someone who just doesn't do skincare at all, you just wear sunscreen, I'm not really sure how the texture will glide and apply on your skin. But I do like 2 or 3 steps at least before I do my sunscreen, and it applies beautifully on top. You have to apply it in a certain way where you're like dabbing it and not like massaging it like how you would do with a moisturizer probably, because I do think that there are chances it can pill. So there is a learning curve with, I feel like, most of the sunscreen I'm going to talk about today, because once you figure out the right way to apply it and make it work for you, I think it's going to be a breeze. But the first couple of times when you're using it, you have to figure out the right amount of how much you want to be taking, how much you want to be using, how you're going to apply it, what technique you're going to use for that, and stuff like that. So there is definitely a learning curve with most of the products I'm going to talk about today, so do take that with a grain of salt. And also want to mention that this one has slightly like a yellow tinge to it, I would say, in terms of like what the color of the product looks like. But on your skin, it leaves no white cast, no yellow tinge or like anything like that. Absolutely nothing. It completely blends right in, and it's, you know, a beautiful application. Again, like I said, once you figure out the right way to use it, I think it's going to be an absolute breeze. And personally, I do really like this. Would I consider repurchasing it? Is still going to be like a maybe. As of now, I don't know. I do want to experiment and try out some other sunscreens, so eventually we will figure that out. I'm also planning on doing like, I mean, I still have some more sunscreens I'm trying and testing out, or that I want to try and test out, and once I do all of that, I will probably do like a top 5 sunscreens that I consider you know, repurchasing, or I think would be repurchase worthy for me, kind of a video, also doing like price breakdowns, because sunscreen is something that's gonna be like, it's always gonna be there in my collection for life. So it is also important that whatever I choose has to be like, you know, worth the money for me, in a way where I'm getting a good value for, you know, the product I'm getting and stuff like that. So yeah, I do plan on doing some sort of video like that a few months from now, once I really try and test out thoroughly all these sunscreens, use them up, figure out how much use I can get out of every tube. And once I'm done with all that, I will do some sort of video like this for sure. It's on the list. It just takes months and months to prep for these things, so do keep that in mind. But it's coming eventually. Moving on, next I'm going to talk about my second sunscreen, which I feel like I'm going to describe in a very similar fashion like I did the DOUX one. So let's talk about that next, because I feel like I've covered all the pointers already. There's not much to say. But this is the Reequil Ultra Matte Dry Touch Sunscreen Gel. This is supposed to be water resistant and sweat resistant. It says it's great under makeup, and it's got some IR protection, which I don't really know what that is. But this one to me is very similar. In fact, the first time I used this, I was like, this is just like DOUX basically. So this one is basically, actually I figured out, it's manufactured by the same company that has manufactured DOUX. It's called High Tech Formulation Private Limited. And when I also compare the ingredients list, the ingredients are 99.9% the same. Okay, there might be just 1 or 2 ingredients that are slightly different, but apart from that, all the ingredients are very much the same. So that's one thing I do want to mention. That being said, when I applied it and when I've been using it, you can see I've used a good amount of it. I've used up maybe like half, I want to say half, or like 2/5 probably. It's similar, I would say, to the DOUX a lot in terms of the texture, the way it like blends on the skin, the way you have to keep in mind how you're applying it. Don't rub, but like dab and massage and blend that way. Those are very similar. That being said, this doesn't have the yellow tinge that DOUX has. Again, like I said, it doesn't matter if it has a yellow tinge or not, because that doesn't really change the way this applies or looks on the skin. But I just wanted to mention that. And neither of these leave a white cast on my complexion. I feel like I am somewhere NC 40, 35, somewhere around that. It depends on if like I am tanned or not. Sometimes I'm out of the sun for really long hours and I do get a little bit of tan, even though I am wearing sunscreen, but you know, still. So I think my complexion varies a little bit that way, but this doesn't leave any, like neither of these leave any kind of white cast on me. So I do want to mention that. And yeah, another great product, great formulation. This doesn't come in a big size, which I do think Requier should be doing that, because this product is loved by so many people, and I am also one of those people who really does like it. So I do want to mention that. And my favorite way to be applying this is when I have a gel based moisturizer as my like base. I feel like my favorite trichome sunscreen works well with a more cream based moisturizers, and this works well with gel based moisturizers. And that's why I feel like a lot of people who have oily acne prone skin really love the sunscreen, because when they're using a gel moisturizer underneath, this pairs really well with that, and it does not pill at all. The Tricone one kinda does pill sometimes. So yeah, this is like my favorite pick, and this is the sunscreen that I use whenever I'm wearing a gel moisturizer, like the Earth Rhythm Phyto Clear or the Pond's gel moisturizer, the Lakme gel one. Any of those this pairs great with. So yeah, did want to mention that. And yeah, that was that. Moving on, next we have another Reequil sunscreen that I'm going to talk about, and this is the one that my friend recommended to me. This is the sheer Zinc tinted sunscreen. It's non-comedogenic for all skin types, SPF 50, PA+++, 100% mineral sunscreen. It's got UVA, UVB and IR protection. That's everything that it says right here on the packaging. And this is one, it's got zinc oxide as their main filter, along with a bunch of, again, different ingredients. It's also manufactured by the same company that has manufactured this one, and I'm pretty sure their third sunscreen as well, which I did not end up getting because that one seemed like it was more creamy and like melt for normal to dry skin types. So I didn't feel like I'm gonna like that one, so I didn't end up getting it. But this one has a very, I would say, similar texture to this, where it's like that dry touch silicone kind of you know, that's how it feels like when you're applying it on the skin and like all of that. But I do want to say that because this is tinted, you have to be a little bit more careful about your skin tone. If you're too fair, it's not going to work for you because it's going to make you look orange. If you are a medium or a deep skin tone, medium, I think it would work for you for sure. If you're a deep skin tone, again, I don't know how this is going to look on your skin. It may or may not make you look gray, I don't know, because I have not seen anyone who has a deep skin tone talk about this or try it out or, you know, say good or bad things about it. So I cannot tell you. My friend who recommended this to me also has like a similar skin tone to I do. So again, we both fall in like the light medium kind of spectrum, and this does work for us. Also want to mention that I would not suggest you use too much of this. Like, I know you're supposed to use the right amount of SPF to give you like adequate sun protection, but I feel like if you use too much of this, it may look like cakey foundation on your face basically. So I think that's something you also need to keep in mind as well. I was expecting this, I mean, I don't know why I was expecting this, but I was expecting this to give me a little bit of coverage of sorts, which I feel like it gives you the illusion sometimes that it does, but it actually does not. And I think that's also something that it was my fault, that I was expecting it to give me coverage. It's not supposed to, again, like I mentioned, it's just supposed to not have a white cast on people that typically get a white cast from certain sunscreens and stuff. So yeah, this I feel like I do like. I don't know if it's gonna be like a staple for me per se, because you can see I haven't used much of it. Again, I mean, I've used a good amount to share like my review on this, but I haven't like used it as much as I've used this, or like as much as I've used the UV DOUX or like any other sunscreen for that matter, even like Dermaco for that matter, I used up. So I haven't used this as much. I just like to use this on days where I'm kind of going for that makeup look, but I don't want to wear absolutely any makeup on my skin. I just want to even out my complexion if I feel like there's too much of redness going on in my face because of like a breakout or inflammation or stuff like that. I tend to use this then. That's how I typically like to use this. And I also don't like to use this on days where I'm like super in a hurry, because I really like the time to take, like I like to take the time to blend this really well, make sure it doesn't look weird on my skin, because if I don't, I do think that like if you're not blending it super well, it can look weird and like mask like and kind of cakey and stuff. So that is something I also do feel like you should keep in mind when you're using this. I would recommend this too, I would say every skin type. Maybe if you have super dry skin, it might not work for you, but if you have anywhere from normal to slightly oily, not very oily, but like if you're in the combination normal slightly oily spectrum, then I do think that this will work great for you in that sense as well. And I think now it's winter, so it's rare to find someone who has super oily skin, so I think now's the time where you can definitely try this out no matter what your skin type is. So yeah, that was that. Those were my thoughts on the sunscreens that I have thoroughly tried and tested out recently. I do have a few that I want to still get, and there is one that I have currently in my collection as well, which I'm waiting to try and test out. But I'm also enjoying using my favorites and using up some of these as well before I like open more stuff and try and test out more. So yeah, I'm really happy and excited that this time around my experience with getting some of these sunscreens and trying them out was better as compared to what my experience has been in the past with like trying and testing out different sunscreens, because it's definitely been hard, like having a sunscreen that makes you look very oily, or like that literally melts on your face, or that pills a lot on your face. It's just a very bad experience, and I was like, I'm not gonna try it anymore because my experience is being so bad. I just don't want to experiment. I just want to stick to my favorite, and I do still enjoy that a lot, but then every once in a while it's like fun to try out something new as well. So yeah, I'm very happy that I took the plunge and I'm trying and testing out some of these. Let me know what your thoughts are on the sunscreens that I mentioned today, and if there's any other sunscreen that you think I will like as a normal oily skin person who likes a sort of matte finish on the skin when it comes to like sunscreen finishes and stuff like that. Let me know if you have any recommendations, suggestions, feedback, etc. So yeah, that was it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.